Live from the 22 News Broadcast Center, this is a Decision 2015 special program. Today, a Pittsfield Mayoral Forum. And now, here's Rich Teddemer.
Good afternoon. 22 News is working for you as we let one of the candidates you'll see on the ballot on Tuesday, November 3rd, talk about the issues. Today, it's one of the candidates running for mayor of Pittsfield. Incumbent Mayor Dan Bianchi is challenged by Linda Tyre, who has declined her invitation to debate. Mayor Bianchi, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have a chance to make an opening statement right now.
Great, and I guess I will. Well, I just want to thank Channel 22 for this opportunity to be here. It's a great opportunity to talk to the voters about the important progress that we've been making in the city of Pittsfield. And I regret that my opponent declined to come here. I think these are important opportunities. I'm the mayor of Pittsfield. My name is Dan Bianchi, and I really do believe in Pittsfield. My belief comes from real, measurable progress that we've made. I'm the only candidate in this race who can be trusted to have fiscal management responsibility and experience, as has been noted by my opponent. I've balanced our city's budget for 4 years. I've expanded our community development efforts, improved schools, and increased public safety measures. I've created a city government that is trustworthy and transparent, a form of open government that welcomes everyone to the table. My opponent, on the other hand, has surrounded herself, unfortunately, with individuals who have stalled progress on the City Council and other administrations. During this campaign, I've had the opportunity to talk about the progress we've made, the successes, which include plans for a new state-of-the-art high school, a business innovation center that will connect the plastics industry, life science industry, and education, all with the intent of creating good jobs and opportunities for our young people. I've developed a 21st century pavement management program, a tax recovery initiative, a community connections program that is addressing our gang and youth violence, a new inspection bureau, and in addition, more police patrols in our neighborhoods. Over the past 4 years, with the help of a dedicated staff, great city employees, we've made a great deal of progress. And I have a trustworthy record of achievement, and I'm just happy to be here to talk about it.
Now, if your a challenger were here, this would be a Lincoln-Douglas style debate. Where
that's what I understand, yeah.
Right, the candidates ask each other the questions. So if you had a chance right now to ask Linda Tyre a question, what would it be?
I'd ask the same question I asked yesterday, and that is, given the complexity of city government, given the fact that we have a $150 million budget, we have 12 union contracts, we have multiple bargaining units, we have a very complex system of roadways. How would you manage that $150 million budget? What experience do you have, what education you have that affords you the opportunity or the experience to be able to do that? And her answer was, well, I haven't been mayor, I've never negotiated a contract, so I haven't had the opportunity to manage that kind of a budget. And that's the point I was trying to make. It is so important to have people with experience in government today, and that's one of the reasons why government has been in trouble for so many years, is because there have been people without the experience to do it. You can't expect to be able to learn overnight to manage a $150 million budget. I've had 30 years of executive level management that included being the Director of Administration and Finance for the City of Pittsfield, but I've worked in private industry where we have developed, managed, and been successful in running those businesses.
You worked in the energy industry, right?
Worked in the energy industry for 30 years.
Longtime city council member, as you said?
I was a 10-year city councilor when I first got on the council, and this speaks to the, the need to be able to trust the people that are running your government. When I first got on the city council, I realized that our budget was underfunded by $4 million. I also discovered that our mayor had signed a check for a $600,000 insurance policy that was never delivered, never purchased. We ended up having the Attorney General's office in City Hall for weeks and months, and I was asked to serve as a member of the Finance Control Board, which the state insisted we put in place.
Now, the mayorship is now changing from 2 years, right, to 4 years.
It's going
this
from
year.
2 years to 4 years.
This is a big election in the city's history.
It is a big election, and that's why I encourage people to look to the person that they can trust to be able to manage a complex $150 million budget, who is able to put in place those programs, 21st Century Paving Program, tax recovery program, which has already recovered $2.1 million, the ability to be able to manage a $20 million health insurance program that's very complex. We made a change this year. It is a $2 million savings for our taxpayers. You have to be able to trust somebody is going to have the experience to watch the best interest of the taxpayers, the best interest of school children who are looking to the mayor's office to be able to put together an educational plan that makes sense, that prepares them for 21st century jobs. And I have that experience, and I'm very concerned about people who put themselves in political races that don't have that kind of experience, because the world has changed.
Okay, we'll continue with our mayoral forum from Pittsfield and talk with more with the mayor of Pittsfield, Dan Bianchi, right after this. It's a short 2-minute break. Welcome back to the Pittsfield Mayoral Forum. We're here with incumbent Mayor Dan Bianchi. He is challenged by Linda Tyre, who has declined our invitation to debate today, but Mayor Bianchi is here to talk with us about the issues, and Pittsfield was in the news this week, as a matter of fact. Earlier this week, Berkshire County DA David Capel said that a gun found in a locker at a Pittsfield middle school last week was fully loaded, a statement that was contrary to information released by the mayor's office. It said the weapon was not loaded. And Capel said on Monday that he was dismayed that the mayor's office would release incorrect information.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
Actually, what was released was the fact that there was a gun and there was a loaded clip next to the gun. And to the best of our knowledge, that's what we understood to be the case. We have a protocol, a safety protocol, which has been assessed to be as good as any for this kind of a situation, and it worked perfectly. We had somebody who had talked to the administration of the building. They secured the gun, secured the young man. The police had taken them by the time I had gotten there. And when we put the teachers together, the superintendent, I think, just wanted to call it a weapon, but let's call it what it is. It was a handgun. And to the best of our knowledge at that time, we thought that there was just a loaded clip next to it. But anybody who's ever been in the service, and I spent a couple of months in an arms room in Fort Knox, Kentucky, I know how quickly, 2 seconds, it takes to load a gun. So whether that clip was next to it or in it, and I thought, quite frankly, that the DA could have handled that much differently. You
served in the National Guard, right?
Yeah, yep, 7 years.
It's scary, though, Mr. Mayor. We just had this incident down in Fairfield, Connecticut with schools, and we had a shooting this morning in Tennessee State University again. It's frightening to think that this is coming here and that we have to deal with this almost on a daily basis.
It is. The world has definitely changed, and I was so interested in what President Obama had to say a couple of weeks ago when he was asked, in your time left in office, how many what would you do to stem the tide of violence? And his first response was, I don't know. And then he went on to talk about mentoring programs for young people. And that's what's great about the city of Pittsfield. We are small enough that we can really make an impact. I secured $300,000 in grant funding for a community connection program. And that community connection program now has 40 trained mentors working with a very small staff. But they're reaching out to these young people who have been identified to be in a position to really take a violent or wrong path in their life. We're working with those kids, and they're doing a tremendous job. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to expand that program. We already have another 60 people that want to be involved, and you can't arrest your way out of this issue. The most dangerous person in America is a 15-year-old with a loaded weapon. So we take it very seriously. We're going to continue the Community Connection Program. We have a great core of resource officers in our schools. The protocol worked perfectly, and it's unfortunate that you know, we weren't specific because we were working with the information that we had. And it was important that we get the word out to parents as quickly as possible.
All cities have crime. Does Pittsfield have a crime problem?
Well, people would say any crime at all, any level of crime is a problem. We have had an increase of violent crimes reported. And when we say violent crimes, the FBI categorizes assault and battery. We've been very diligent with our kids in our school campuses. If a kid gets in a fight with another kid and uses his shoe, that is considered a violent crime. Our arrests are up by about 30%, but for the past 3 years, up until July, we had not had a homicide. But we take crime very seriously, and we make improvements. We've had 270 special patrols in various parts of our community to ensure the safety in our neighborhoods. We have hired a crime analyst who, interestingly enough, has mapped, and I know people aren't going to be able to really see this. This is the city of Pittsfield, and this is the identified hotspots in the city where the bulk of our crime is occurring. And that's why I've directed 270 special patrols to really focus in on those hotspots. It's a scientific, cost-effective way of policing so that we don't have patrols going on all over the city, but in those areas. And it's working.
A lot of crime, of course, is driven by drugs, and the number of opioid deaths in Massachusetts in the first quarter of 2015 is higher than the same period in 2014. And preliminary figures show that overall opioid deaths remained high throughout the first half of this year. That's according to the State Department of Public Health. Yeah. What can your administration do to help deal with the opioid problem?
We can work with Berkshire Health Systems. We have one of the greatest hospitals and health systems anywhere, but for a community of 45,000 people, Berkshire Health Systems is phenomenal. Many communities across the country would love to have the same. And I meet with them on a regular basis. I met a couple of weeks ago with people who are dealing with this, and I said, how are we doing? Are the overdose statistics coming down? And they say they're bending the curve, but we have a community-wide program. We're working with doctors to educate them. We are doing a better job of identifying the number of prescriptions for painkillers and opioids, and now we're really tracking that experience, and that's going to help in the long run. So we can work with our health providers. We can work with great agencies like the Breen Center, who have therapists and who have drug prescription protocols. We can really make a difference by getting to the root of the problem. The other end of the problem is illegal drug sales to those people who become addicted on opioids, and that's where I think the Community Connection Program is going to help, and other treatments. But the problem we have is we have got to encourage the court system to, when we arrest somebody, not to release them on their own recognizance, but put them into the House of Correction where they have therapists and people in place to be able to address the drug addiction problem.
Okay. We're going to take another quick break right now, and then more questions for the Mayor of Pittsfield. You're watching 22 News. Welcome back to the Pittsfield Mayoral Forum. We're here with the Pittsfield Mayor, Dan Bianchi. He's challenged by Linda Tyre, but Linda has declined our invitation to debate, so I asked the questions for Mayor Bianchi, and he's giving us some the answers right now. I have a question here. It's kind of interesting. Do you have a part-time job to go along with the full-time job as mayor?
I spend about 6 hours a month reviewing contracts for the company that I'd worked for many years. I also review proposals. Do it on my own time. And I do it 7 o'clock on Sunday morning if I'm not going to 7 o'clock Mass, and or late at night, sometimes between 10 o'clock and midnight. But as I say, I do that for about 6 hours a month, and the company is kind enough to be able to cover my health insurance, so the taxpayers of Pittsfield don't have to pick that up.
Okay. Some say that Pittsfield employment has never been the same since General Electric moved out in the 1980s. Why has it been a struggle to attract employers and jobs to the city, including the Stanley Business Park?
Well, the William Stanley Business Park is a brownfield site, and brownfield sites are historically difficult to. You have to remediate them and then market them. So you have to also remember that less than 10% of the Fortune 500 companies in this country relocate or expand, and that in and of itself is difficult. But we are developing an innovation center, and we have 5 research institutes who have already decided to be part of that. We are creating a great dynamic there so that the small and innovative companies, and we have many small, innovative, advanced manufacturing companies and plastics companies in the area, not just in Pittsfield, but throughout Berkshire County. They are going to have access to the Innovation Center and those research institutions. As a result, that's going to allow them to grow, and they've told me this, Mayor, we just need access to new technologies, new processes, and new research to allow us to miniaturize some of our products, to change the compounds from the polymers, and that's why we've attracted UMass and the Nanotechnology Center in Albany, RPI, and a number of other research institutes to help out the small companies, the medium-sized advanced manufacturing companies that are doing such spectacular job in the city of Pittsfield.
From business owners to homeowners, would it help if the city had one uniform property tax rate rather than charging homeowners less and businesses more?
Well, if you do your research, and I worked for corporations, the property tax charged by a municipality to a corporation is one of the lower considerations when it comes to relocation. It's really the job force, energy costs, but taxation is not one of them. Now, if we were to equalize our residential and our commercial tax base and rate, we would be punishing our residential property owners. It would just be a dramatic hit that, quite frankly, I think a community with such a large number of retirees and people who are on modest incomes, it would be punishing for them, and I don't think that's the appropriate scheme. I think over the course of years we can work towards that and try to alleviate some of the burden on our commercial and industrial clients and taxpayers, but to do it all at once would be tremendously punishing to the residentials.
More questions for the mayor of Pittsfield coming up after this 2-minute commercial break. You're watching 22 News. And welcome back to the Pittsfield Mayoral Forum. Incumbent Mayor Dan Bianchi is here with us now. He's challenged by Linda Tyre, who declined our invitation to debate, but Mayor Bianchi is kind enough to answer our questions today. And we have a question about the Berkshire County town of Lee has proposed a local gas tax. Is that something that Pittsfield should consider?
I think that the people of Pittsfield pay their fair share in taxes, and I just don't see that would be terribly helpful.
Springfield has problems with abandoned properties and neighborhood blight. How large of a problem is this in Pittsfield, and what would the solutions be?
Well, actually, something that I've been working on for the last 3 years is a vacant buildings committee, and it consists of our fire department. We have a community development office, our solicitor's office, building inspectors, and they meet, I think, weekly now to examine the 100 or so properties that are causing problems. You know, I inherited a lawsuit, and it was a lawsuit because my predecessor decided to knock down a building without the appropriate authority to do so. We ended up 2 years in a lawsuit. So you have to approach it very carefully. But having said that, over the last 3 years, we have eliminated 55 buildings and structures that have been blighted and a problem for years. We're going to continue to do that, but it has to be something that's affordable and well planned out, and you can't just walk into a lawsuit by doing something inappropriate.
Of course, Springfield has casino gambling on the way. That's in and outside of
Oh,
Massachusetts.
good for Springfield.
Yeah, what are your concerns in Pittsfield about that?
Actually, they're not my concerns. We had a get-together with local businesses and manufacturers, and we said, okay, thankfully, gambling's far enough away in Springfield, but how can we benefit? So companies, for example, who have a bottled water plant in Pittsfield are making arrangements to be able to serve them. And there are other companies with other services. So we have been able to connect Pittsfield manufacturers and service suppliers with MGM and their management. So I'm hopeful it's going to allow our Pittsfield companies to grow.
You have about less than a minute to go here. You're the foremost salesperson for the city of Pittsfield. What is your sales pitch?
My sales pitch for the city of Pittsfield is, and we had a great article in the Boston Globe last week saying what a positive place Pittsfield is now, and we just want to keep that going. But I think that the mayor's a great salesman, and I've worked very hard to gain your trust, and I just want to read this for you. As the people of Pittsfield prepare to go to the polls to vote for mayor, I would like to take this opportunity to endorse Dan Bianchi. He is an honest, sincere public servant who truly has the best interests of the people of Pittsfield at hand.
And this is coming from Congressman Richard Neal, correct?
This is coming from Congressman Richard Neal, who
right,
has
we're running out of time,
recognized
Mayor.
our work.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for participating today.
I appreciate being here.
We appreciate it, and thank you. Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. If you missed any of today's forum, you can always find it on wwlp.com. Have a good afternoon.
More people in Western Massachusetts get their news from 22 News than any other source.